Commander Ryland stood at the edge of the convoy landing zone, his armor reflecting the pale orange light of Orion's twin suns. The planet was beautiful, with mountains that glowed faintly at sunrise and forests that stretched like emerald oceans. But beauty on Orion was dangerous. Pirates, rogue mercenaries, and even strange alien creatures roamed the wilds. Today, Ryland's mission was simple: escort a convoy carrying civilians to the city of Vera without a scratch. "Commander," said Lieutenant Mara, her voice tense over the comm link, "sensors are picking up movement in the forest. Too many for a normal patrol." Ryland's jaw tightened. He had learned long ago that danger often came when things seemed peaceful. He adjusted his visor, scanning the horizon. "How many?" he asked. "Too many to count, and they're fast." "I'm reading energy signatures, plasma weapons." Ryland's heart did not race. That was a luxury soldiers rarely had. Instead, he focused. He turned to the convoy's lead vehicle, a hover transport carrying refugees. Among them, a small child clutched her mother's hand. Princess Leora, heir to the throne of Orion, was part of the convoy. The queen had insisted she remain protected, though some suggested sending the princess ahead with only light security. Ryland's eyes softened as he looked at the child. She was no older than 7, with hair that glimmered like gold in the sun and eyes too wide to hide fear. But even fear could not hide courage, and he admired that in her. "They're coming," Mara warned. "Multiple targets approaching fast from the north." Ryland nodded and dropped into a combat stance. His hands moved automatically to the controls of his energy rifle. He scanned the area. Shadows moved unnaturally fast between the trees. Then, with a sudden surge, the attackers emerged. Sleek, dark-skinned aliens with forearms and plasma blasters strapped to their torsos. Their eyes glowed red, and their mouths opened in silent snarls. They were nothing like humans, nothing like the species Ryland had encountered in other systems. They were deadly, and they wanted the convoy. "Move!" Ryland shouted. He sprinted toward the convoy, assessing each threat as he went. He fired a quick burst, and one of the aliens fell, its armor sizzling under his weapon. Another fired back, barely missing his leg. Then he saw her, the child, the princess, frozen in fear as a plasma bolt streaked toward her. Without thinking, Ryland threw himself in front of her. The energy blast hit his armor, and he grunted as it scorched through the outer plating. Sparks flew and heat pressed against his chest. But he stayed between the child and the attackers, moving her behind a fallen hover vehicle for cover. "Stay down!" he barked, wiping sweat from his brow. The princess's small hands clutched his arm. Her eyes were wide, her lips trembling. Ryland glanced at the aliens. They were relentless, their numbers growing as more emerged from the forest. But Ryland had been trained for situations like this. His mind worked quickly, calculating paths, cover points, and attack angles. He wasn't just a soldier. He was a protector. Humanity had taught him courage, ingenuity, and loyalty, and now those lessons would matter more than any weapon. He grabbed a grenade from his belt and rolled it toward a cluster of the attackers. The blast threw several of them back, giving the convoy precious seconds to move. He helped the child up and pulled her behind him again. She looked at him, fear still in her eyes but trust in her heart. That trust was heavier than any armor he had ever worn. One alien, faster than the others, lunged directly at them. Ryland reacted instinctively, catching the creature with his forearm and throwing it to the ground. It let out a strange shriek, scrambling back to its feet, but Ryland was already scanning for the next threat. "Commander, they're flanking us from the east," Mara's voice crackled. Ryland made a decision. "Get the convoy moving, I'll hold them off." "No! You—" Mara started. "Go! Now!" he ordered. The convoy began moving again, the hover engines humming as they accelerated toward Vera. Ryland turned back to face the attackers. He had no illusions. He might not survive this. But the child's life mattered more than his own. Humanity had always been brave, sometimes foolishly so, but courage often came from that choice, putting others first. The aliens surged forward, and Rylan fought with every ounce of strength and skill he had. He fired, ducked, and rolled, using the terrain to his advantage. Each strike of his weapon was precise, calculated, but their numbers seemed endless. Every time he thought he had a moment, another wave arrived. Then, a blast hit his side directly. He grunted as the armor dented and heat seared through his suit. Pain shot through him, but he ignored it. He could not let the child see weakness. Another shot missed her by inches, and he caught her arm, pulling her back. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, the aliens retreated. Perhaps they underestimated the humans' resilience. Perhaps they had other plans. But for now, the convoy was safe. Rylan staggered, his armor smoking and battered. The child clung to him, eyes wide. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Rylan crouched so he could meet her gaze. "I'm fine. You're safe. That's what matters." She nodded, gripping his hand. "Thank you." Before he could respond, a deep voice called out. "Rylan, is that you?" Queen Solara stepped forward, her royal presence commanding but not intimidating. She had witnessed the battle from a distance, observing his actions. Her eyes were sharp, analyzing every detail, every choice he had made in those tense moments. "You saved her life," she said simply, her voice steady but carrying an edge of awe. "I have heard of human bravery, but this is exceptional." Rylan straightened, bowing slightly. "Your Majesty, it was my duty." The Queen smiled faintly. "Duty? Perhaps. But humans have a quality many lack, a willingness to sacrifice everything for others. That is why I am here, to thank you, and to see if you would consider remaining here at Orion to protect my family." Rylan blinked. Protect the royal family? That was not part of his mission. He had been a soldier, trained to follow orders, but the Queen's request carried weight. He looked at Princess Leora, still holding his hand, her trust evident. I will consider it, Your Majesty," he said finally. The Queen nodded. "Good. There is much to discuss. For now, rest." "You have earned it." As Rylan was escorted to the royal infirmary, he allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. He had saved a life today, and in doing so, he had demonstrated the best of humanity: courage, loyalty, and selflessness. He did not yet know what lay ahead, but he understood one thing clearly: humans could shine even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. And on Orion, under twin suns, that light had just begun to burn bright. Rylan woke to the soft hum of the infirmary's life support systems. His armor had been removed, revealing bruises and burns across his body. The pain was sharp, but it was nothing compared to the memory of the plasma blast he had shielded the princess from. He clenched his jaw, not from pain, but from a sense of duty. He had done what humans did best: protect others without question. The door to the infirmary opened quietly, and a figure stepped inside. Queen Solara. She walked with grace, her presence commanding yet calm. She had a crown of simple design, elegant but not ostentatious, and her eyes seemed to look straight into him, analyzing his thoughts. "Commander Rylan," she said softly, "you have done more than duty today. You have shown bravery that is rare, even among humans." Rylan bowed his head slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I was only doing my duty." The Queen moved closer, her gaze never leaving his. "Duty is expected, yes, but courage of this level, it is a choice. Every moment you chose to protect the princess, knowing your life was at risk." Rylan's mind shifted. He had never thought of his actions as extraordinary. Saving lives was what humans did, time and again, across the stars. "Your Majesty, anyone in my position would have done the same." Solara smiled faintly. "Perhaps. But not all have the skill, the foresight, and the instinct you displayed. I have observed many humans, Commander, and they are interesting, resourceful, loyal, determined, traits that many species lack. Rylan looked at her thoughtfully. She was right. Humanity had survived against odds that would have crushed others. They had colonized worlds, fought for survival, and had a capacity for courage that even the galaxy's strongest races sometimes underestimated. The Queen gestured to a chair beside the bed. "Sit, if you will. There is much to discuss, and I believe it may interest you." Rylan lowered himself onto the chair, keeping his back straight. He was not used to conversation like this, especially with royalty, but he was curious. Solara continued, "Commander, I am aware that humans have no claim to my throne. Orion is not a human world. Yet today you acted as if this child were your own family. That is remarkable. It has made me consider a proposal." Rylan raised an eyebrow. "A proposal, Your Majesty?" "Yes," she said, her voice steady. "I wish for you to remain here with my family, not merely as a soldier but as a guardian. You have proven that you can do what many cannot. I would like you to help ensure the safety of my daughter, and perhaps, if you agree, to advise me on matters that concern both Orion and your people." Rylan's mind raced. To remain in one place, in a royal palace, was a different kind of duty than he had ever known. Yet he could not ignore the truth. Humans had much to offer in diplomacy, strategy, and protection. Staying here could save lives beyond this single convoy. "I am honored, Your Majesty," he said finally, "but my first duty is to humanity. If my presence here can protect both your daughter and my people, I will accept." Solara's eyes brightened. "That is wise, Commander. Loyalty and pragmatism, two qualities that make humans exceptional. You will be stationed here at the palace. I will grant you access to our resources, our technology, and our intelligence networks. You will be more than a soldier. You will be a strategist and protector." The next days were a blur of recovery and preparation. Rylan trained with the palace guards, sharing his knowledge of human combat techniques. He adapted human strategies to Orionian technology, teaching the soldiers to think unpredictably, to anticipate enemy movements, and to act decisively. The guards were skilled, but they had always relied on numbers and power rather than ingenuity. Rylan showed them that quick thinking and human adaptability could turn even a losing battle into a victory. Princess Leora observed him quietly. She was fascinated by the way he moved, how he thought, and the calm confidence he displayed. Her small hands often reached out to touch his armor or ask questions about his weapons. "Why did you protect me?" she asked one day. Rylan knelt to her level. "Because it was the right thing to do. Anyone in my place would do the same." "But not everyone does," she said softly, looking up at him. Rylan smiled faintly. "That is true. Humans try to be better. We try to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is our strength." Leora nodded, her eyes wide. "I want to be brave like you someday." "You will be," Rylan said. "You already have courage. You just need to believe in it." As Rylan trained the guards and spent time with the princess, he began to notice something troubling. Diplomatic envoys from neighboring systems arrived in the palace, their eyes sharp and calculating. Some offered gifts, others offered alliances. But Rylan could sense subtle manipulation in their words. They underestimated humans. They thought Rylan was only a soldier, not a strategist. They did not realize that humans could see patterns, anticipate deception, and act decisively when needed. One afternoon, while reviewing security reports, Rylan saw clear evidence that some envoys were not there merely for diplomacy. They had plans that could endanger the princess. He brought this to Queen Solara's attention. "They are not just visitors," he said. Some seek to weaken your position. They may even attempt to kidnap the princess. Solara's face remained calm, but her eyes betrayed concern. You are certain? Rylan nodded. I have studied their movements, their behavior, and the intelligence they brought. Something is not right. You need to act carefully. The queen leaned back in her chair. I see. And what do you propose? Let me prepare the palace defenses, he said. I can adapt human tactics to Orionian systems. We can secure every entrance, every escape route, and every surveillance channel. We can make the palace nearly impossible to infiltrate. Solara studied him for a long moment. You are bold, Commander. Bold and brilliant. Very well. Do as you see fit. But remember, this is my home and my daughter's life. Nothing must fail. Over the next few days, Rylan worked tirelessly. He analyzed the palace layout, redesigned security protocols, and trained the guards in new techniques. He adapted human strategy to Orionian technology, teaching soldiers to move unpredictably and strike decisively. The princess watched quietly, sometimes mimicking the movements Rylan demonstrated. She admired his skill, his confidence, and the calm way he faced danger. Rylan, in turn, began to see that humans and Orionians could complement each other. Human ingenuity combined with Orionian technology could create a force the galaxy would not easily challenge. One evening, after a long day of training, Queen Solara summoned Rylan to the Royal Council chamber. The room was vast, filled with holographic displays of planets, star systems, and intelligence reports. She gestured for him to sit. Commander, she said, I have watched your work. You have improved our defenses in ways I did not think possible. You have protected my daughter and, in doing so, strengthened my trust in humanity. Rylan remained silent, letting her words sink in. You have proven that humans are more than mere soldiers, she continued. You are thinkers, protectors, and, perhaps one day, leaders. Your presence here has shown me the true potential of your species. Rylan felt a surge of pride. Humans were often underestimated, dismissed as emotional or reckless by other species. Yet here, on Orion, his actions were recognized not just as duty, but as a demonstration of what humanity could achieve. Solara's voice softened. I am grateful, Commander. You have not only saved my daughter, but you have also given me hope that Orion and humanity can stand together against whatever threats may come. I hope you will continue to serve, not because I command you, but because you understand the value of courage, loyalty, and honor. Rylan nodded. I will serve, Your Majesty, for the princess, for your people, and for humanity. As he left the council chamber, Rylan glanced out at the twin suns setting over Orion. He knew the galaxy was full of danger, full of those who would underestimate humans and seek to exploit weaknesses. But he also knew this. Humanity had something the galaxy could not easily measure. It had heart, courage, and the will to protect others, no matter the cost. And as he looked at the city below, he realized that his journey was only beginning. Humanity's story on Orion and beyond was about to take a new turn, one that could shape the future of stars, planets, and civilizations alike. Rylan had barely slept the night after his meeting with Queen Solara. His mind raced with possibilities, scenarios, and the unsettling sense that danger was closer than anyone realized. The Palace of Orion, though magnificent, was no longer just a place of beauty. It was a potential battlefield. Rylan had trained the guards, secured the perimeter, and adapted human tactics to Orionian technology, yet he knew this was only the beginning. The next morning, he convened a meeting with the Palace Security Council. The room hummed with holographic displays of the palace grounds, the surrounding forests, and the flight paths to Vera. Each point represented a potential threat. We have visitors arriving tomorrow, Rylan began, his voice steady. Some come with diplomatic intent, others with hidden agendas. I've noticed patterns in their behavior. Their movements, the questions they ask, even the timing of their arrivals. They're not here to negotiate. They're here to probe. If they find a weakness, they will exploit it. A senior guard frowned. You mean spies? Rylan shook his head. Worse. These are trained operatives. They will act if they see an opportunity. They may attempt to kidnap the princess. They may try to destabilize the queen's rule. We must be ready for anything. Queen Solara, seated at the head of the table, nodded thoughtfully. Commander, you have my full support. Use any resources you need. I want the princess protected. And I want the palace to remain secure. Rylan studied the floor plans again. We will implement multiple layers of defense. Surveillance drones, motion sensors, energy barriers, and human patrols. But technology alone is not enough. We need unpredictability, human tactics, combined with your force's capabilities. Over the next several hours, Rylan moved like a storm across the palace. He oversaw the installation of automated defenses and personally trained squads of guards in hand-to-hand combat, energy weapon handling, and tactical retreat. He emphasized improvisation, teaching them to think on their feet, to anticipate enemy behavior, and to trust their instincts. The princess, watching from a safe distance, grew increasingly fascinated. Commander Rylan, she asked, do you think they will try to take me again? Rylan knelt to her level, his gaze calm but firm. If someone tries, we will be ready. But fear will not help you. Courage will. Humans do not win by being reckless. We win by thinking, by planning, and by standing together. Leora nodded, her small hands gripping his armor. I want to learn to be brave like you. You will, Rylan said, and when the time comes, you will lead with both your heart and your mind. The evening brought a quiet calm, but Rylan's instincts told him it was only a pause. At midnight, as the twin moons rose over Orion, his sensors picked up a subtle anomaly. A small shuttle approached from the northern ridge, its energy signature masked to avoid detection. It was small enough to carry only a few individuals, but stealthy, precise, and dangerous. Rylan activated the alert system and quietly gathered a team of elite guards. This is not a drill, he whispered. We have an intruder. Stay sharp. The team moved silently through the palace corridors, guided by Rylan's instructions. Their footsteps echoed softly on the polished floors, each guard positioned to cover escape routes and vulnerable points. The shuttle landed near the palace gardens, its engines barely audible. Rylan signaled, and the guards fanned out, approaching the intruders with silent precision. From the shadows, he observed the operatives stepping out, 3 figures clad in sleek black armor, energy blades glinting under the moonlight. They moved with grace, but Rylan noticed a hesitation, a human-trained tactical pause. They've been trained to expect predictable reactions, he whispered. We will use that against them. As the intruders entered the gardens, Rylan's team struck. Drones activated, illuminating the area with bright lights, disorienting the operatives. Rylan fired precise shots, disabling one of their energy blades without causing fatal harm. The aliens reacted quickly, but Rylan anticipated every move. Using human ingenuity, he manipulated their positioning, leading them into the palace's defensive traps. One operative lunged directly at him, energy blade swinging. Rylan sidestepped, tripping the alien into an energy net. Another tried to retreat, but the automated barriers sealed their path. The final intruder paused, scanning for a new route. Rylan seized the opportunity, firing a non-lethal shot that disabled the alien's jetpack. The confrontation was over in minutes. The operatives were captured, and the princess remained safe. Rylan's eyes swept the area, ensuring no other threats remained. Queen Solara arrived moments later, her expression unreadable. Commander, you've done it again. The princess is safe and the intruders neutralized. Ryland straightened. Yes, Your Majesty. They underestimated human ingenuity. They expected predictable behavior. Humans are not predictable. We adapt, we survive, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Queen's eyes softened, a mixture of gratitude and admiration. It is becoming clear, Commander, that humans have something few species possess: courage combined with intellect. You are more than a protector. You are a force multiplier for our people. Ryland looked toward the palace gardens, where the captured operatives were secured. He knew this would not be the last attempt. Other forces in the galaxy were likely watching, calculating, waiting for a moment of weakness. But he felt a quiet confidence. Humans had endured worse odds, survived against stronger enemies, and adapted to every challenge the universe had thrown at them. In the days that followed, Ryland continued to enhance the palace's defenses. He trained the princess in basic self-defense, teaching her how to move, how to anticipate danger, and how to remain calm under pressure. Leora proved quick and perceptive, absorbing every lesson with determination. One afternoon, as they practiced in a secure courtyard, she paused and asked, "Commander, will there always be people trying to hurt us?" Ryland smiled, though it was tinged with seriousness. "Perhaps. But that is why we train, why we prepare, and why we protect each other. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite it." She nodded, her young face set with determination. "I will be brave. I will help protect our people." Ryland placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You already are brave. You just need to trust it." Meanwhile, the Queen observed from a distance, silently acknowledging Ryland's influence. His presence had not only protected her daughter, but had also reshaped the palace. Guards moved with purpose, strategies had become more effective, and the royal family's confidence had grown. Ryland had shown that humans were not just soldiers. They were thinkers, leaders, and innovators. The final proof came unexpectedly. Intelligence reports indicated another alien faction planning a covert strike against Orion. They had been waiting for months, analyzing defenses, searching for weak points. But Ryland had already anticipated their methods. Using human foresight, he had laid traps, established decoy patrols, and created escape paths that turned predictable patterns into traps for the invaders. When the alien forces finally made their move, they were caught completely off guard. The palace defenses activated in perfect coordination, guards executed human-inspired tactics, and Ryland led the countermeasures personally. The strike was defeated before it could threaten the princess or the city. Queen Solara, watching from the council chamber, allowed herself a rare smile. "Commander Ryland," she said quietly to herself, "you have changed everything. You have proven that humans are more than allies. They are essential." Ryland, exhausted but alert, knew the truth of her words. Humanity had survived countless threats, not just through strength but through ingenuity, courage, and an unwavering will to protect others. Here on Orion, those qualities had saved a child, strengthened a kingdom, and begun to alter the balance of power in the galaxy. And as he gazed at the twin moons rising over the palace, he knew that this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, filled with threats and challenges. But humans had something no one could predict: courage, loyalty, and the ability to turn every danger into an opportunity. Orion had been tested, and humanity had triumphed, not just through weapons or technology, but through the very heart of what it meant to be human. Orion shimmered under the golden light of its twin suns. The city of Vera was alive with activity, but within the palace walls, a new tension had begun to stir. Commander Ryland had grown accustomed to life among royalty, though he had never sought it. He was a soldier, trained to protect, not to navigate court politics or royal protocol. Yet his actions had earned him attention that could no longer be ignored. Queen Solara summoned Rylan to the central council chamber. The doors opened with a soft hum, and he stepped inside, noting the intensity of her gaze. She did not smile, but her eyes held a quiet determination. "Commander," she began, her voice calm but firm, "your actions over the past weeks have proven something extraordinary. You are not only a protector but a symbol of human courage, intelligence, and loyalty." Rylan bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only do what I must to keep the princess and your people safe." Solara walked closer, her presence commanding. "That is precisely why I must make a declaration. From this day forward, you will not be merely a guard. You will serve as the Queen's champion, bound to my family by honor and trust." Rylan froze. "Your Majesty, I am honored, but I am a human soldier. I serve humanity first. I do not seek titles or personal claims." Solara's expression softened. "You misunderstand me. This is not about a title for vanity. It is about acknowledgement. Acknowledgement of what you represent. Humans are often underestimated across the galaxy. You have shown that our people are stronger together, that courage and ingenuity can change the course of events. By recognizing you as my champion, I am stating to all that humans are to be respected, valued, and trusted." Rylan took a deep breath, understanding the weight of her words. This was not about personal glory. This was a statement of interstellar diplomacy, a message to every faction watching Orion. Humans are more than soldiers. They are essential allies. "Very well, Your Majesty," he said finally. "I accept, not for myself, but for humanity and for your daughter." Solara's lips curved into a faint smile. "Good. You will continue to protect Princess Leora, advise me on security matters, and help guide our forces. But there is another aspect you must understand. Your presence here will influence more than the palace. It will shape alliances and demonstrate the strength of humanity to the galaxy." The announcement was made public the next day. Word spread quickly across Orion's star system and beyond. The palace guards, diplomats, and citizens alike were stunned. No human had ever been formally claimed as a champion by an alien monarch. Some were skeptical, others envious, but all had to acknowledge the truth. Rylan's actions had earned this honor. For Rylan, the new role came with new challenges. Diplomats from neighboring systems approached him, testing his reactions, seeking to understand the human mind. Rylan remained calm, observing each gesture, each word. Humans had survived by thinking, adapting, and acting with purpose. Here, his insight became an invaluable tool. One afternoon, a delegation from the Andari Confederation arrived. Their leader, a tall alien with shimmering blue skin, stepped forward and addressed Rylan directly. "You are the human the Queen has claimed," he said, his voice smooth but cautious. "We have heard of your deeds. Tell us, do humans follow orders blindly, or do they have their own judgment?" Rylan studied him carefully. "Humans follow orders when they are right, and question them when they are not. We act with purpose, courage, and thought. That is why we succeed in ways others cannot anticipate." The Andari leader raised an eyebrow, impressed despite himself. "Interesting. Perhaps the Queen has made a wise choice." Rylan nodded politely. "It is not my choice alone. It is humanity's choice to act with loyalty, courage, and intelligence. That is what you have witnessed." Meanwhile, within the palace, Rylan continued his training and preparation. The princess followed him like a shadow, learning the ways of strategy, observation, and self-defense. Each day she became more confident, her eyes brighter with determination. "You must always think ahead," Rylan instructed one morning as they moved through a training corridor. The enemy does not wait for you to be ready. Anticipate their moves. Protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is the difference between fear and courage." Leora nodded, absorbing every word. "I understand, Commander. I want to be ready for anything." Ryland smiled faintly. "You already have what it takes. You only need guidance and experience." As days passed, Ryland noticed subtle signs of tension among the palace council. Some envoys whispered, others watched with suspicion, and a few tried to test the limits of his loyalty. But Ryland remained calm. Humans had always been underestimated by the galaxy's older civilizations. They had survived against overwhelming odds, adapted to hostile environments, and persevered where others failed. That same spirit guided him now. Then, one evening, the alarm system detected a new threat. A small fleet of alien ships had approached Orion's orbit, their intent unclear. Ryland immediately gathered the palace defense team and analyzed the situation. "They are scouting," he said. "They want information about our defenses, our response times, and our strategy. They believe they can find a weakness. They are wrong." Ryland coordinated the palace defenses with precision. Automated turrets powered up, energy shields hummed to life, and human-inspired tactical patrols were deployed throughout the palace grounds. Every potential entry point was monitored, and decoy strategies were prepared to mislead any intruders. The next day, the alien fleet attempted to probe the palace directly. Ryland's strategies worked flawlessly. Drones misled the fleet. Automated barriers blocked their approach, and strategically placed defense teams repelled small boarding attempts. The invaders were forced to retreat, their confidence shaken. Queen Solara observed the events with quiet pride. "Commander," she said afterward, "you have done more than protect my daughter. You have shown the galaxy the value of humanity. Your courage, intelligence, and decisiveness have changed how others will see us and them." Ryland bowed his head. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans have survived because we act with purpose, we adapt, and we protect each other. That is what you witnessed." Solara's expression softened as she turned to the princess. "Leora, see what it means to have humans by our side. Courage, loyalty, and wisdom are our greatest allies." Leora looked at Ryland, admiration shining in her eyes. "I hope I can be brave like him someday," she whispered. Ryland knelt to her level. "You already are, Princess. Courage is not about being fearless. It is about acting even when you are afraid. You will lead, protect, and inspire others just as we do." The palace had changed. Guards moved with purpose. Diplomats approached with respect, and the people of Orion began to see humans not just as soldiers, but as equals in courage and intelligence. Ryland's presence had created a ripple across the system, a reminder that humanity was more than a minor species in the galaxy. Humans could influence, inspire, and protect in ways that no one expected. Yet Ryland knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with factions, spies, and forces that would test Orion again. But now, with the Queen's claim, his strategies, and the princess's growing courage, he felt a quiet certainty. Humanity had not only survived, it had proven its worth. As the twin suns set over Orion, Ryland stood on the palace balcony, looking toward the horizon. The city below was peaceful, yet the universe beyond remained full of challenges. He thought of his mission, of humanity, and of the child he had sworn to protect. One thing was clear. The Queen's claim was not just an honor, it was a responsibility. And Ryland was ready. He would protect, guide, and inspire. He would show the galaxy the strength of humans. And with that, Orion had a new protector, a new symbol of courage, and a new future shaped by the bravery and ingenuity of humanity. And so, as night fell over the palace, Rylan prepared for whatever the galaxy would bring next, knowing that humans, through courage, loyalty, and unyielding spirit, could stand against any challenge. Orion was unusually quiet that morning. The twin suns cast long shadows over the city of Veira, and the air shimmered with heat. Yet Rylan's instincts told him something was wrong. His sensors, surveillance systems, and intelligence networks were all active, and each one sent the same message. A massive fleet was approaching Orion's orbit. Rylan moved quickly through the palace corridors, alerting the Queen and coordinating the palace guards. "This is not a routine patrol," he said. "They are coming for us. Their fleet is large, well-armed, and organized. They intend to take the city and possibly the princess. We will not let that happen." Queen Solara's face was calm, but her eyes reflected the weight of responsibility. "What is your plan, Commander?" Rylan paused, considering every option. "We fight smart. We combine Orionian technology with human strategy. Every ship, every weapon, every guard will act together. The fleet may be stronger, but humans and Orionians together can be faster, smarter, and more coordinated. We turn their strength against them." The palace gates opened, and Rylan moved to the command center overlooking the city. Holographic displays showed the enemy fleet advancing, sleek alien warships bristling with weapons, energy pulses charging along their hulls. Rylan analyzed their formation and patterns, noticing a flaw in their approach. The enemy assumed Orionian defenses would react in predictable ways. They did not anticipate human unpredictability. "Activate the decoys," Rylan ordered. "We draw their fleet into the outer sectors. Let them think they are attacking a weak point." Orionian ships powered up, taking positions as Rylan had directed. Automated turrets aligned along the city walls, and human-inspired patrol teams moved strategically to control key points. Every guard, every drone, every defensive system followed Rylan's instructions with precision. The alien fleet fired first, energy blasts streaking across the sky toward the city. The decoy traps worked. Alien ships were funneled into narrow passages, where their energy was wasted and their formation disrupted. Rylan directed Orionian strike teams, combining speed, tactical surprise, and precision attacks. From the palace balcony, Princess Leora watched in awe. "Commander Rylan, look! They're falling back!" Rylan nodded, keeping his focus on the broader battlefield. "Not yet, Princess. Stay alert. This is only the beginning. They will adapt. We must be ready to act faster." Minutes stretched into hours. The alien fleet changed tactics, but Rylan anticipated each adjustment. He used guerrilla-style attacks, unpredictable patrols, and Orionian energy shields to protect the city while gradually pushing the invaders back. "Commander," one guard called out, "we've detected a group of boarding ships heading straight for the palace." Rylan's eyes narrowed. "Then we meet them head-on. Set the energy barriers. Deploy the defensive squads. I will lead the counterattack." The intruders landed on the palace grounds, weapons drawn. Rylan, at the forefront, met them with a combination of Orionian tech and human tactics. He moved swiftly, disabling energy blasters with precise strikes, throwing opponents into containment fields, and guiding his team with calm authority. The princess watched from a secure balcony, clutching the edge as Rylan fought. Each move was calculated, each decision deliberate. Humanity's resilience and ingenuity shone in the chaos. One particularly large alien operative tried to reach the inner chambers, where Leora was protected. Rylan intercepted, using his speed and human ingenuity to trap the creature in a magnetic field. Another tried to attack from behind, but a team of trained guards, anticipating his movement, neutralized the threat. The Queen observed the battle from the command center. "Rylan," she said quietly, "you are extraordinary. You have protected my daughter, the palace, and the city. Humanity truly is remarkable." Rylan's focus did not waver. It is not just me, Your Majesty. Humans survive because we act together, think creatively, and protect each other. Today, we all show that strength. The alien fleet, seeing their plans thwarted repeatedly, began to retreat. Rylan coordinated the pursuit, using Orionian ships and drones to harass the fleeing vessels. The invaders, frustrated and surprised by the humans' tactics, could not maintain cohesion. One by one, their ships were disabled or forced to flee into deep space. The battle was won. The palace and the city were intact. The princess was safe. Humanity had once again proven its worth, not through sheer force, but through courage, intelligence, and unity. Queen Solara entered the courtyard where Rylan stood, surveying the aftermath. Guards and civilians alike were cheering, grateful for the protection and leadership that had saved them. The queen approached Rylan, her presence regal and proud. "You have done more than protect us," she said. "You have shown that humans are a force to be respected across the galaxy. Your courage and wisdom have saved not only my daughter, but the future of Orion." Rylan bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans have always believed in protecting what matters, in standing together against impossible odds. That is what we do best." Princess Leora ran forward, her small hands gripping his arm. "Commander Rylan, you saved everyone. You were amazing." Rylan knelt to meet her eyes. "You were brave too, Princess. Courage is not just in fighting. It is in believing, in standing strong, and in trusting those who protect you. You will grow into a leader who inspires others." Leora smiled brightly, her admiration for Rylan clear. "I will try. I want to be brave like you." Rylan straightened, looking around at the palace and the city. Humanity's triumph was not only in surviving the attack, but in demonstrating their value. Other species would now know that humans were more than allies. They were innovators, protectors, and a force that could shape the future. The queen placed a hand on Rylan's shoulder. "You have earned a place not only in my service, but in the hearts of our people. You are my champion, Rylan, and through your actions, humanity has become a symbol of hope and courage." Rylan nodded, humbled. He had never sought glory or recognition, yet he understood the importance of this moment. Humanity's reputation in the galaxy was no longer based on fear, rumor, or simple survival. It was based on proof, on deeds, courage, and the will to protect others, no matter the cost. As night fell over Orion, the city glowed with peace and celebration. Humans, Orionians, and even cautious allies acknowledged the impact of the battle. Rylan stood with the Queen and Princess Leora on the palace balcony, watching the twin moons rise. "The galaxy is vast," Rylan said softly. "There will be more challenges, more threats. But humanity has proven that we are more than capable. Courage, loyalty, and intelligence are our greatest weapons." Queen Solara nodded. "And with you, Rylan, humanity stands with us. Together we can face anything." Leora leaned against him. "I want to learn everything you know, Commander. I want to help protect our people." "You will," Rylan said with a smile. "And together, we will face whatever the stars bring." In that moment, Rylan realized something profound. Humanity had survived and thrived for countless generations because they were willing to protect one another, to act with courage even when the odds were against them. On Orion, in the heart of a palace under twin suns, humans had proven that courage, loyalty, and ingenuity could shape the destiny of worlds. The battle had ended, but the story was only beginning. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through domination, but through heroism, wisdom, and the unwavering determination to protect life. Rylan's actions had saved a princess, defended a kingdom, and inspired a galaxy to recognize the value of humans. Orion had been tested, and humanity had triumphed. And as the twin moons reflected on the palace's walls, Rylan stood silently, ready to face the next challenge, knowing that humans would always rise to meet it, with courage, loyalty, and an unyielding spirit that no force in the galaxy could ignore.